Working the night shift at a hospital can be a lonely and haunting experience. The familiar hum of medical equipment and the sterile scent of disinfectant create an atmosphere that is both comforting and unnerving. Little did I know that this particular night would test the boundaries of my courage and sanity. As the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness enveloped the hospital, casting eerie shadows down every corridor. The night staff had a camaraderie born out of shared fear and a deep understanding that strange things happen when the world sleeps. One night, as I made my rounds, a chill ran down my spine as I heard the distant sound of footsteps echoing through the deserted hallways. I dismissed it as the building settling or the wind howling through the ventilation system, but an uneasy feeling lingered. In the depths of the hospital, where the oldest wing stood, I often felt a presence watching me. Shadows danced along the walls, seemingly animated by unseen forces. Occasionally, whispers would float through the air, as if the very walls retained the memories of past patients. One patient room in particular sent shivers down my spine. It was said to be haunted by the spirit of a former patient who had met a tragic end within those walls. Nurses whispered about strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, disembodied cries in the dead of night, and the feeling of being watched. During a late-night shift, as I entered that room to check on a patient, an icy breeze brushed against my skin, causing the hair on the back of my neck to stand on end. The patient lay still, seemingly asleep, but a sense of unease hung heavy in the air. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. As the hours passed, the hospital transformed. Flickering lights cast eerie shadows, and the silence became oppressive. The cries of pain and the bustle of day shift staff were replaced by an uncanny stillness, broken only by the occasional beep of a monitor or the echo of footsteps in distant corridors. One fateful night, a series of inexplicable events unfolded. Doors slammed shut with a force that defied logic, and cabinets flung open, spilling their contents onto the floor. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy, making it difficult to breathe. It was as if a portal to the supernatural had been cracked open, unleashing its malevolent forces upon the hospital. Staff members reported sightings of apparitions, pale figures that flickered in and out of existence, their eyes filled with a haunting sorrow. Patients, in the grip of fevered delirium, claimed to see specters at the foot of their beds, their ethereal forms swathed in tattered hospital gowns. During those long and eerie nights, whispers filled the air, their words carrying tales of unfinished business and unrequited longing. It seemed that the hospital's very walls were imprinted with the pain and suffering that had unfolded within its rooms. In one particularly chilling incident, as I sat at the nurse's station, a monitor flickered to life, displaying a static-filled image. I could make out a figure, a distorted silhouette standing at the end of a dimly lit hallway. A feeling of pure dread washed over me, and I instinctively knew that this presence was not of this world. With trembling hands, I contacted the hospital's paranormal investigator, desperate for answers and a way to banish the malevolent forces that plagued the hospital. Together, we performed rituals of protection and cleansing, invoking ancient prayers and summoning positive energy to drive away the dark entities. Gradually, the hospital regained its sense of peace, and the spirits retreated to the shadows from whence they came. But the memories of those haunting nights remain etched in the minds of those who witnessed the supernatural occurrences, testimonies of a world beyond our comprehension, a world where the boundaries between life and death are blurred. As a nurse working the late-night shifts at St. Mary's Hospital, I thought I had grown accustomed to the eerie atmosphere that settled upon the ward when darkness draped its cloak over the world. But nothing could have prepared me for the terrifying encounters that awaited me during one fateful night. It began with a sense of unease, an underlying tension that permeated the air as I made my rounds. The flickering fluorescent lights cast unsettling shadows, and the silence was punctuated only by the soft hum of medical equipment and the occasional distant wail of an ambulance. Little did I know that the seemingly innocuous hospital would become a breeding ground for fear. During my shift, I found myself drawn to a particular room shrouded in darkness at the end of a dimly lit corridor. As I approached, an icy breeze brushed against my skin, and a chill ran down my spine. It was as if the room itself exuded a malevolent energy, a presence that demanded attention. Inside, the patient lay motionless, his frail body weakened by illness. Yet his eyes were wide with terror, fixated on a corner of the room that seemed to devour the light. He whispered of a shadowy figure that visited him each night, its presence suffocating and its intentions sinister. I dismissed it as the delusions of a sick mind, but deep down, a nagging feeling of dread gnawed at me. As the night progressed, the hospital morphed into a twisted labyrinth of fear. Strange noises echoed through the corridors, a symphony of whispers, footsteps, and anguished cries that defied explanation. Shadows danced along the walls, their forms contorting into grotesque shapes that seemed to writhe in agony. In the heart of the ward, a particularly ominous room drew me in. The air grew thick with an otherworldly presence as I stepped inside. The patient's eyes widened in terror, mirroring my own. In the corner, a dark silhouette lurked, its presence palpable despite the lack of discernible features. It emanated an aura of malevolence that sent shivers down my spine. With every passing hour, the hospital revealed its true nature, an amalgamation of horror and despair. Patients claimed to see apparitions at the foot of their beds, their tortured visages haunting their dreams. Medical equipment malfunctioned, defying scientific explanation. And the whispers, those incessant whispers that echoed through the halls, carrying secrets that refused to be silenced. One night, as I prepared medication at the nurse's station, a chilling voice whispered in my ear, sending a jolt of terror through my veins. I turned, but there was no one beside me. The voice spoke of forgotten sins, of lost souls trapped in an eternal purgatory within the hospital's walls. It spoke of a curse that had befallen the institution, infesting it with darkness. Determined to uncover the truth, I delved into the hospital's history. I discovered tales of unethical experiments, of patients abandoned to their own devices, and of a vengeful spirit seeking justice for the atrocities committed. It became clear that the spirits of the past clung to the hospital, refusing to move on until their grievances were acknowledged. In a final act of desperation, I sought guidance from a local paranormal investigator. Together, we conducted a ritual, inviting the spirits to find peace and release their hold on the hospital. A burst of energy filled the air, and the presence that had plagued the institution began to dissipate. In the following nights, the hospital regained a semblance of tranquility, but the memories of those haunting encounters lingered. The experience taught me that darkness can seep into the most unexpected places, and the noblest of professions can become a battleground between the living and the dead. Working as a nurse, I had grown accustomed to the challenges of caring for patients in a hospital. However, nothing could have prepared me for the disconcerting experience that awaited me in room 307, a place that would forever haunt my nightmares. The patient in room 307, Mr. Thompson, was a man of mysterious origins. He arrived at the hospital under mysterious circumstances, his file void of any substantial medical history. His room became a dark vortex, swallowing all sense of normalcy and plunging me into a realm of dread. From the moment I stepped into room 307, an inexplicable chill crept up my spine. The air felt heavy with an unseen presence, and the room seemed to pulsate with an eerie energy. Mr. Thompson, though seemingly docile, emitted an aura of deep despair, as if he carried the weight of unspeakable horrors. Night after night, I entered room 307 to administer medications and tend to Mr. Thompson's needs. Each visit was an excursion into a world of twisted reality, where the boundaries of time and space seemed to blur. Shadows danced along the walls, their elongated forms casting eerie shapes that taunted my sanity. Mr. Thompson's condition remained a mystery. He would mutter incomprehensible phrases, his words a twisted symphony of despair and agony. It was as if he was trapped in a perpetual nightmare, his mind a battleground between reality and a malevolent force that sought to consume him. Stranger still were the objects that inexplicably moved within the room. Medical equipment shifted from one place to another, as if manipulated by unseen hands. The dim glow of the overhead light flickered in sync with Mr. Thompson's erratic breathing, adding an unsettling rhythm to the room's macabre symphony. One night, while tending to Mr. Thompson, a vision flashed before my eyes. An ethereal figure, shrouded in darkness, standing at the foot of the bed. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, filled with an insatiable hunger. It reached out, as if attempting to breach the barrier between our realms. The encounter left me shaken to the core. Doubt gnawed at my mind, and the boundaries between reality and hallucination blurred. Sleep became a fleeting luxury, as nightmares filled my nights with gruesome images that mirrored Mr. Thompson's tortured reality. As weeks turned into months, the line separating me from Mr. Thompson's suffering began to fade. His delusions bled into my thoughts, and I found myself questioning the nature of my own existence. Whispers echoed through my mind, their words laced with the torment of lost souls longing for release. One fateful night, consumed by an unyielding dread, I decided to uncover the truth behind Mr. Thompson's affliction. Deep within the hospital's archives, I stumbled upon a forgotten report, an experiment conducted decades ago, shrouded in secrecy. It detailed a procedure that sought to unlock the hidden recesses of the mind, a procedure performed on Mr. Thompson. The revelation shattered the fragile remnants of my sanity. I had unwittingly become a witness to the consequences of scientific curiosity gone awry, a testament to the horrifying price paid by those who delved too deeply into the unknown. In a desperate attempt to break free from the grasp of Room 307's malevolence, I reached out to a spiritual medium. Together we performed a cleansing ritual, a battle against the darkness that had consumed Mr. Thompson and threatened to engulf us all. As the ritual unfolded, an ethereal cry pierced the air, a culmination of anguish, terror, and liberation. The room trembled, and the malevolent force that had held us captive dissipated, leaving behind an eerie silence. Though Room 307 remains etched in my memory, I emerged from the ordeal changed. I carry with me the scars of that haunting experience, a reminder of the thin veil that separates the world of the living from the realms of darkness.